Hey guys, how are you all doing? It's Cam back at you again. Today I thought I'd bring you something a little bit different. It's been a long time since I did a Q&A video, maybe about 3 or 4 years, where I've just sat down on my own and gone through my most frequently asked questions. And since the channel has seriously shifted, I think I had about 10,000 subscribers when I last did my Q&A video where I was addressing everything and where I was sending out announcements that I was doing a Q&A video. Instead this time I've amassed together everything that I get asked virtually on a daily basis, and it's probably, I'm going to cover between maybe 10-15 questions, basically talk about some really detailed stuff to do with my guitars and stuff that you guys nerd out on, which is really cool, but also some more general questions I get asked an awful lot these days. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive straight in. First question is, what is my favourite guitar I own? And for a lot of you guys know I'm a big connoisseur of Charvel guitars, but the one that has always stood out for me ever since it showed up is this one. This is Amber, unoriginally named. I named 1 or 2 guitars that have a bit of sentimental value, and this is one of them. And it's a DK24 FR. And what I love about it, it's got the, I love the DK shape, I always have. Plus it's got the contouring on the back, and this one's mahogany, and it's just got a different feel to all the others, you know. One thing I didn't mention in the review, or maybe I didn't talk about as much as I probably should have, is this guitar is definitely one of the most resonant I've ever played. For example, if I play an A chord or certain other types of chords around, the neck vibrates like you've just got a text message, or like your guitar's just received a message or something. It's really amazing. It's super slinky, it feels amazing, it just responds exactly how I want it to, and I wouldn't change a thing on this. It's absolutely fantastic, I really love it, and it's also one of the only guitars I own. I know I own a wide range of Charvels and different colours and stuff, but this one certainly is the one where I look at myself holding it and think, suits me. Doesn't matter what I'm wearing, it looks good. And yeah, that is it. Amber, my DK24 FR. Then probably a close second is this one. A lot of you guys don't know what this is, and I get asked about it all the time, and this is actually a parts caster. Obviously the Charvel stickers on there to baffle people, but this is in effect a Tele Deluxe, and it's got, basically, to me it looks like a John 5 Tele, obviously with the reflective scratch plate and everything like that. It's in a satin gold crackle finish, which I really like. Pariah, Blackheart and Leone pickups in. They're my favourite pickups on the planet. Hardtail, so it's super low maintenance, strung through the body. I mean, it's just a beast. It's got a quarter saw maple neck, rosewood fingerboard, tiny little frets, but I don't mind that on this particular guitar. Locking tuners. It's an absolute beast. A lot of you are probably wondering why this is cracked. And this is because, it's a funny thing this, sometimes with toggle switches, have you ever had it before where you'll have the bridge pickup is working just fine and you'll go over to the neck and it suddenly goes quiet and you've got almost like a quarter of a signal? That's curable with sprayable switch cleaner. Anyway, I was doing that one time, I left the guitar, so after having cleaned the switch, upside down like so, and or on its back I should say. And what ended up happening was it reacted with the plastic on the pick guard, and that's the result. So be mindful if you're cleaning a toggle switch with a reflective finish, but nevertheless, definitely one of my favorites. Love it. Picks and strings being the next question. I get asked this all the time. When it comes to strings, I'm endorsed by Elixir strings, and I used them before anyway, but I absolutely adore these. These are Elixir Optiwebs. I use gauge 9 to 42 on a guitar that's standard tuned or half a step down, and then I'll go down to 10 to 40, or sorry, I'll go up to a 10 to 46 gauge if I'm tuned lower than that. In this case, a full step down. I don't tend to go any lower than that. And for me, they just feel awesome. And what I find is because they're coated, they are a little bit more taut than your regular, I don't know, maybe Ernie Ball Super Slinkies or something like that for some reason. I don't know what it is. So if you like, they feel like 10s. But another big thing with Elixir strings that I really love is they do exactly what they say on the packet. Clear tone, natural feel for a long time. I ended up, just a funny story for you guys, I ended up sort of setting an Elixir strings sort of challenge to myself. I wanted to try and video it if it's all possible, but I didn't know how to make it exciting. And I ended up sticking on Amber, my favourite guitar, a set of Optiwebs in March, the week I got the guitar on demo. I had every intention of keeping the guitar, so I thought I'll change the strings on it and hang on to the guitar. I played the guitar solid for 9 months, never broke a string. The strings never died, they didn't really get that dirty, The only thing that got dirty was the fretboard. Certain frets were just going black. It was crazy. It was an utterly disgusting guitar. I ended up changing them because they were becoming so slinky, if that makes sense. The tension was getting lower and lower and lower. The bridge was starting to go back. So I ended up changing them. They could have carried on, but I ended up changing them just to preserve my typical setup. In terms of picks, I'm a big user of Hawk picks, okay? And for the longest time, I was always on the hunt for a, well, not like a pick endorsement, that's not what I'm saying, but I always liked the idea of trying new picks out and seeing how they could vary. And I was always a lover of the jazz shape, but I came across these on Instagram, and I've always liked them, and I've had students talk about them as well. And I'm a big fan of the Hawk TB7, which is basically like a jazz pick, and the Hawk TB6, which is the same thing, just a little bit bigger. And it's made out of a really hard sort of protein material. It's vegan, by the way, but it's made out of some kind of really crazy hard material. And it's amazing. It doesn't really wear out that fast. However, this pick has seen some serious mileage, I'm not gonna lie. But I've got a selection of different types. There are a couple of signature ones out there. Joss Allen's got a signature pick with them. And I use a 1.4 millimeter. Some people go even thicker. The Joss Allen signature, for example, is 2 millimeters. And I've got a selection of different ones to try. But if I was to recommend one for you guys, and it's definitely worth it, they're really, really good, the Hawk TB7 in virtually any finish that you want. But this one is called Lemon Drop. Really, really like it. Definitely my favorite so far. Not the most exciting question, but I get it all the time. What do you use to clean your fretboards? Obviously, I play a lot and the fretboards get really, really dirty. I always get comments saying, dude, you need to clean your fretboards, and I do. But they say don't use lemon oil on maple fingerboards. Never been entirely sure why, but when it comes to what I clean the fretboards with, usually it's just the tiniest bit of lemon oil on whether it be ebony, maple, or rosewood, whichever, or more typically, because it's more readily available if you want to go and buy it somewhere, is window cleaner. Just some kitchen towel and window cleaner, and I've had no problems with that. Nearly dropped my phone. Next question is, do I teach SKYPE lessons? And the answer is yes, I do. I teach every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I've got a load of students on. I teach people all around the world. I teach a lot of people obviously in America, Canada. I teach people Australia, some really cool places, Bahrain, Cambodia, Japan, all around Europe, Israel, so many cool places, and it's a huge pleasure meeting everybody and watching people progress. So if you guys would like some one-to-one tuition, check the description box, my contact info is in there. Do you have original music? Where can I buy it? Well, I'm in a band called Late Domain. I started the project about 2 years ago. We have a couple of singles out and we have every intention of releasing a lot more material, but due to the pandemic and current events, we're currently had to slightly change tack a little bit. But there will be more original material from us in 2021, that I can assure you. This one I get asked a lot. Am I sponsored by Charvel? And the question is, not officially, not like signed on the dotted line as like a paid sponsor, but I am very good friends with the people at Fender, EVH, Gretsch, the specialty brands in effect. And they send me things to demo. I'm not paid, but generally the gear is what I like anyway. So I'm very, very lucky to have a very good working relationship with them. And I intend to carry on working with them in the foreseeable future. I love the guitars. Charvel, I mean, I've been using Charvel for ages. Before I'd even started working with them. There's going to be a selection of 2021 models coming my way in terms of the EVH models, Charvel models, and maybe one or two other sneaky little things that you might want to know about in the near future. I can't say anything just yet, but I'm, what can I say, not like, as I say, contractually sponsored or paid, but I do work with the company. They send me things to demo, and I'm very, very happy to say that I'm good friends with them. Yes. On that front as well, a lot of you guys ask about Yamaha too. I do work with them on one or two sponsored projects, and since I'm a big, big advocate of the THR amps, I do, as I say, occasionally do one or two sponsored videos with them, but I do have a very exciting video with them coming out that's not directly related to the THR amps. It's about a very specific guitar. Some of you know what it is, a lot of you don't know what it is, and I think you're gonna love it. It's a piece of gear I fell in love with about 5 years ago, and I never ever just came around to buying one, but they are amazing. I cannot wait to show you. How long have I been playing guitar and how often do I practice? I'll start with the second question. I don't feel like I practice anymore. I never really did. I always chased I always learned and pursued what I thought was the most exciting. In my teenage years, it was always technique and crazy things from Steve Vai, Satriani, Satchel, Gus G, Andy James, whoever it was, all the technical acrobatics. I always chased that in my teenage years, no question. But now I'm all about learning new chords, different ideas, and I feel I'm really shifting in different directions as a player. Of course, I'll never lose the technical stuff, but I am shifting in different directions and taking from people you might not expect. I'm a big blues guy now, oddly enough. I'm really going back to certain influences that got me started, like Billy Gibbons, honestly. Also Joe Bonamassa for the more modern renditions of the blues stuff, and I really, really love that. In terms of how long I've been playing guitar, to put it really, really short, I want to do a video where I tell my guitar story up until the present day. But I've been playing since I was 4 years old. I didn't stay at it solidly from 4 years old. I quit loads of times between there and then, but I didn't really pick it up properly until I was probably about 7 or 8, and since then it's just grown and grown and grown ever since. And then I was full on 8 hours a day from probably my early teens onwards. Basically after I found Eddie Van Halen is where my life changed. What's your guitar setup in action? Get this all the time, and it's so tricky to answer in comments, but generally speaking, I prefer an action that's not super high, like a slide guitar or something like that. And if it's too low, I find sometimes whether it's a compound radius or not, I find I can't dig in the same. I like to do a lot of bending, a lot of vibrato, and I think sometimes if I have an action that's too low, if I bend too far, the note dies, which can be a pain. And when it comes to my setup in general, I leave my guitars as they are. So if it's a demo guitar that I've got, I never tweak the setup on anything. I'm the most ham-fisted guy on the planet, honestly. So I don't even try amending things because I just screw things up. So when it comes to my technical setup, I like what you'd call a medium action, generally speaking. It's not too high, it's not too low. There isn't a specific measurement that I'd like or anything like that. I tend to try and make it work regardless of what the setup is. The only time I would ever complain about any form of setup is if a guitar doesn't stay in tune, and thankfully I use guitars with Floyd Roses, so I don't generally tend to worry about it that much. Anyway, I'm waffling on, but yeah, a medium action, not too high, not too low, somewhere around the middle. Who are your favourite guitarists? I get that all the time as well, not typically on my Instagram messages. If you're not following me on Instagram, get on it, @GuitarmanCam. In terms of my favourite guitarists, I have certain favourites for different reasons. I really like, I think my biggest inspiration, oddly enough, I know Van Halen is a big part of my content, but he has inspired so many other players in so many different ways and sculpted so many different players. So Van Halen is a big hero of mine, but probably isn't my absolute favourite. My favourite player of all time, and I think has had probably the biggest inspiration on me in terms of rhythm playing and lead playing, is Satchel from Steel Panther. I'm not anywhere near as good looking or as ripped or anything like that, but I certainly love to play Steel Panther's music. There's something about it where it's like it's kind of like a worthy adversary. The lead playing isn't too hard, the rhythm playing isn't too hard either, but it's enough to be really challenging to keep it interesting, and that's on both fronts, lead playing and everything. It's kind of like a worthy adversary, so you feel like, yeah, you're really on the edge of your ability, but also you can nail it at the same time. That's my preference when I play Steel Panther, so yeah, Satchel is probably my biggest favourite, you know what I mean, my favourite. In terms of another favourite guitarist I really like, for a completely different reason, is John Five. John Five, although obviously he plays a very, very heavy music, but also has a lot of other influences, I love John Five simply because of the quirkiness. He will do anything he wants and doesn't care. And I really, really like that. But also I love a lot of the Spanish influence and the idea of he'll play a lot of different styles and different quirky ideas. I really, really love that. In terms of the blues stuff, I'm a big Billy Gibbons fan. Really, really love his stuff. And then another one would probably be more as a mentor. His playing hasn't rubbed off on my playing per se, but Guthrie Govan. I just really love what he sort of stands for as a guitarist, but also I really love how he perceives music and describes it and puts it across. And often than not, he has a way of putting things into words that I always felt and I never knew how. There you go, my favorite guitarist, in short. This is a question I get a lot. Favorite tube amp? Obviously, a lot of you guys know me for using the THR stuff, which of course doesn't have tubes. But for a lot of other videos, you guys don't know it, but I'm actually using another tube amp. I have a pedal board, which is really quite small, but it has some of my favorite pedals ever on. It's basically comprised of TC Electronic gear and Crazy Tube Circuits gear. I really love how it's set up, but also I'm going straight into a Marshall Origin 20C, the combo. My God, I love that amp so much. It takes any pedal so well. I really love it. Single channel, dead simple to use, dead lightweight, and also serves as just a source of different sounds that you don't usually get anywhere else. It's great for testing pedals. And then on the flip side, if I want to just be straight up, no pedals really, and just go straight in, I do have an EVH 5153 head. The 50 watts, which I really like. That's really loud though, so that doesn't tend to get plugged in too much these days. But I am on the pursuit of an EVH lunchbox head, the Stealth one. Really love that. So that could be something of interest, and if I do get one, it certainly will be a video. And I look forward to playing through one of them because I fell in love with the first one. So yeah, hey ho, there we go. Got quite a simple question here to round this off, and the last one is, how many guitars do you own? Overall, they're not all Charvels, I'll add straight away, but I own around 20 now. I'm very lucky to have the collection that I've got. And in terms of the way it's all come together, is a lot of it's been bought second hand. A lot of people think, well, dude, where'd you find this stuff? I mean, I ended up grabbing a load of bargains here and there over the years, and to be fair, I've got a dad who will send me messages. I mean, my dad plays too, and he'll send me various eBay links and stuff like that. Check this guitar, it's going for an insane price, and he used to do that for years. And just to give you an idea of what you can get if you really look hard, if you like, the cheapest guitar I've ever obtained was my neon yellow San Dimas. And they retailed at the time for nearly $1,000, and they're like hen's teeth now. You can't find them anywhere. But when it comes to a bargain, this was in a village in darkest Derbyshire. We drove over to get it, and it was just the craziest drive ever. We went through all the fog and fought the elements to get there. There was snow on top of the hills and everything. It was absolutely crazy. Got lost a couple of times. It really was in the middle of nowhere, this place. But I ended up obtaining this guitar, being the point, for £325. I don't talk prices on the internet, but just to prove what you can get for a guitar that retails for $1,000 on eBay, you can find things dead cheap. So yes, obviously you take a risk with it being a second-hand guitar, but generally it pays off in my experience. So yeah, it's worth it for sure. And that's how I've managed to fortunately obtain the guitars that I have over the years. But then given the pandemic, we've also had to shift a fair few as well, just given by nature. So some of you guys may actually own one or two of my guitars but don't know it, but we'll see. Thanks so much for watching this video, you guys. I hope you've liked what you've seen. It's been really nice to deliver and answer all these people and sort of give you guys all of this information. And hopefully this video will last a long time as well, since my current setup hasn't really changed that much as it stands for the best part of, well, I don't know, 6 years, it feels like. So I'm really glad I can finally just put this out there, and if anyone wants to ask, I'll be guiding everyone towards this video. Thanks for sitting around. I'll probably do another Q&A relatively soon. I may end up doing another one around Easter time maybe. So once again, thank you very much. If you guys want to book a Skype lesson with me, please hit the contact information below. In the meantime, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye bye.